Hi everyone, it's Dalya from Britcent here. Today I want to talk about some difficult moments that every student has in class from time to time. Well, maybe you haven't understood something and you feel too rude to tell the teacher, or maybe you didn't hear them and you feel too bad to ask them to say it again. Or maybe you just can't remember something and you have no idea how to tell the teacher. So today we're going to be learning some phrases that will help you in class. The reason that I'm going to do this is because I feel that personally as a teacher, my classes go a lot better and a lot smoother when the students know these phrases. If I had £1 for every time a student said how to say, I would be very rich indeed. This is not a correct sentence. I repeat, this is not a correct sentence. Instead of how to say, we would say, how do I say? And even if you're not confident about the rest of the sentence, it doesn't matter. The teacher should understand. So even if you say, how do I say rain, cover, hold, walk, the teacher should say, that's umbrella. If you see a word and you don't know what it means, the simple sentence, what does that mean, should be enough. Or, for example, what does umbrella mean? It's the thing you use when it's raining. If you're having trouble saying a particular sentence and you want to know an easier way to say it, you could say, is there another way of saying? Or, is there an easier way of saying? For example, is there an easier way of saying, last night, me and my friends ate pizza, sat on the sofa? The teacher might say, yes, you can use the phrase, hang out. I hung out with my friends last night. If you want to know how to spell or pronounce a word, you can say, how do you spell? Or, how do you pronounce? For example, you could say, how do you spell umbrella? If you really have no idea how a word is pronounced, you can point at it or highlight it on your shared screen and say, how do you pronounce this word? If you are talking about a word that was mentioned earlier, you can use the word that. For example, if the teacher says to you, did you remember your umbrella today? You can say, how do you pronounce that word? Or, how do you spell that word? If you would like to see how a word or a sentence is written and you'd like the teacher to write it down, you can say, could you write that down please? Or if you want to be extra polite, you could say, would you mind writing that down please? Now you might just want the teacher to say something again. So in this situation you can say, could you repeat that please? Or, could you say that again please? And the teacher has said something, but you didn't hear them. A useful phrase that you can use is, sorry, I didn't catch that. Or for short, you can just say, sorry. But make sure that you have a rising intonation at the end so that we know it's a question. Otherwise, if you say, sorry, it will sound like you are apologizing for something. In a situation where you don't understand something, you can simply say, sorry, I don't understand. Or if you want to be really apologetic and polite, you can say, sorry, I'm not sure I understand. And if you've forgotten something, sorry, I can't remember. If you want the teacher to say it again, you can say, could you remind me please? And if you simply don't know something, you can say, I don't know, or I'm not sure. If you're not really sure about whether something is correct or not, you could say, is that correct? Now it's really important that you do not say, is that right? Because is that right has two meanings. The first meaning is that correct? But the second meaning is, really? So it's really important that you don't say that to avoid any misunderstandings. If you're a super driven, fantastic student and you want to sound like Queen Elizabeth, you can ask, did I pronounce that correctly? You can also say things like, did I say that correctly? Or did I spell that correctly? If you want to check how appropriate something is, you can ask the teacher's opinion. So you can say things like, does that sound rude? Or does that sound natural? Or simply, how was that? Now, lastly, we have a phrase that you can use when you do not know what somebody is talking about or you're not sure. You can simply say, what do you mean? For example, if someone says to you, oh, last night I got really smashed, I feel awful. You're probably thinking, well, what happened to you? Because he used the word smashed. Did he get hurt? You can say, what do you mean? And he'll say, oh, I had a great time with my friends. We went out at 5 and we got home at 5 a.m. Because to get smashed means to get drunk. Okay guys, so that's all from me. I hope these phrases will be of help to you. And don't forget that they're not just for the classroom. You might use them when you're in the supermarket, when you're working, or when you're at university. And don't forget that if you do want the teacher to repeat something in class and you don't understand something, it's absolutely fine. We as teachers became teachers so that we can help you, and if we have to repeat something 300 times to achieve that, then we will. That's why we became teachers. Bye.